Hi friends, welcome back. So if you're looking to get an Apple car, that's right, Apple, the iPhone maker, it looks like they're delaying it till 2028. Bloomberg just came out with a report, and I'm going to go over it with you, and I'll share my thoughts and get yours as well. So let's read the headline here. Apple dials back car self-reliance features and delays launch to 2028. After board meetings, car downgraded to level 2 autonomy. Company pushes back launch from 2026 to 2028 at the earliest. And it's interesting because my personal opinion on this stuff overall is I don't need to buy a car from Apple. I don't have to. I mean, to be perfectly fair to Apple, they are a well-known tech company. They got a strong brand, and their products tend to be pretty good. However, with that said, their Vision Pro, the goggle thing's coming out soon, and I think that's going to be a flop, to be perfectly frank. So I'm not so sure I would be confident that the car is going to be great, but we'll see. Let's see what they say here. Apple Inc. reaching a make or break point in its decade-old effort to build a car. It's funny when they say make or break. We were just talking about just yesterday with Tesla's FSD came out version 12. It is still in beta. It's easier said than done, this kind of stuff. Has pivoted to a less ambitious, talking about Apple here, has pivoted to a less ambitious design, and so they're scaling things back with the intent of finally bringing an electric car or vehicle to market. After previously envisioning a truly driverless car, the company is now working on an EV with more limited features. So again, they're scaling back, according to people with knowledge of the project. And the other thing too with this is every now and then you'll get leaks on this stuff. The last I remember hearing is they kind of revamped their whole car division by basically letting people go. So I was actually surprised that this report even came out, that they're even still working on it. I thought maybe that they weren't going to do it at all, but I guess they're still going forward. It says here, even so, Apple's goal for release date continues to slip, although, I mean, you can delay it again. With the latest changes, the company looks to introduce the car in 2028 at the earliest, roughly 2 years after its recent projection. Said people who asked not to be identified because the deliberations are in private. Yeah, so these are leaks, of course. And Apple spokeswoman declined to comment on the company's plans. Apple's secretive effort to create a car is one of the most ambitious endeavors in its history. And you know, it's funny. I'm just talking out loud. I wonder what Steve Jobs would say about building a car. And I don't remember him ever talking about that in interviews or anything like that. If I had to guess, I mean, Steve Jobs can sell you anything. That's one. I don't know if he would be against it. I'll just say this: if Steve Jobs were to sign on board of this thing, it would have really good UI. So just talking out loud, like for example, Steve Jobs was against touchscreens on the iMacs because he's like, it's just not practical for people to have their hand, at touching your monitor all the time. You got fingerprint problems and it's just tiring, etc. Even though it sounds cool, it's not practical and purpose. So I'll just say this: yeah, if Steve Jobs were to design an Apple car, I think it would be the UI design would be pretty good and it would look cool. They would probably simplify things like the Tesla, but I think it would still have a dashboard. But to be fair, the early reports of designs of the Apple car is like no pedals, no steering wheel, fully robotic, etc. Just more like getting in a box and it drives you around. So I'm not sure if Jobs would go with that or not. But anyway, just thinking about that out loud. Let's see what else we have here. It says since it began taking shape in 2014, talking about the car project at Apple. The project codenamed Titan and T172 has seen several bosses come and go, and I was telling you guys about that. I see reports of this all the time. There have been multiple rounds of layoffs, key changes in strategy, and numerous delays. But it remains one of the company's potential next big things, an entirely new category for the device maker that could help reinvigorate sales growth. Apple's revenue stalled last year as it contended with maturing smartphone industry and a slowdown in China, its biggest overseas market. If you've ever tried any of the Chinese manufacturers, the Xiaomi, Huawei, they're not bad phones. And in this day and age, I mean, how much faster do you need your phone possibly to be, and how much smaller do you need it to be? Like we're at a point where it's hard to innovate phones, and I think for Apple, they're trying to get you to buy more stuff from them. We're also having a slowdown, generally speaking, in the economy, these kind of things. So Apple's got an uphill battle. My personal opinion on this stuff is Apple really wants people to buy stuff. Get that flippy phone. I want my flippy phone. I don't know if I need a car, but this is the chart of sort of how sales growth is, or I should say revenue is probably the better way. Oh, they say sales there, but We'll use sales because that's what they're saying in their chart. But this is their growth from year to year. So in 2023 they're at a negative growth, right? So in 21 they had a massive growth in sales, and this is on to percentage year over year. So how can you get sales growing again? I think it's going to be tough too. Also, you have the majors. So you have competition in China from Chinese manufacturers. Samsung makes good phones as well. I mean, you guys know this, and iPhone's a big money maker for Apple. The most recent stuff that Apple's been trying to do is get you to sign up for more subscription services and things like that. So like the Apple Fitness, stuff. And I don't know if people sign up for that. And can tell you though, Apple Plus TV is pretty good actually. They got a lot of good programming on there. So that's something. And then I think they try to get you to sign up for stuff for your watch and any number of things. And they try to take, a large cut if you buy anything on the App Store from developers. And there's been fights with that with Epic. So, I understand they're trying to do a new category, but it's I'm not sure if car is the way to go. But evidently 2028 still is the date that they're going for. Let's see what else this has to say. But Apple has struggled with how to approach such a product as of end of 2022. The Cupertino, California-based company aimed to release a car by 26. With advanced self-driving features for highways. Okay. Now, after finding it would not be able to, not going to do it, wouldn't be able to complete such a vehicle in the foreseeable future, Apple is developing more basic driver-assisted features in line with the current Tesla Inc. So, if they do it, the tech will be pretty, kind of where Tesla is right now. It's tough to go to the next level. That's essentially what we're talking about here. And again, this is according to people with knowledge of the plans. The car will use what is known as Level 2 Plus system. People said that's a downgrade from the previously planned Level 4, and before that even more ambitious plans for Level 5. So these are the different levels here, basically of how do you rate autonomous driving, robot driving, full self-driving, however you want to call it. So we're talking about Level 2 for Apple. A quick Google search if you're curious. Tesla is at Level 2 also, so they have not been able to go up to Level 3. They just released their version 12, but that is just now entering the wild. So we'll see if they can bump it up to Level 3. We'll see, but no, they're not there yet. And people always like to mention in the comments Mercedes, and indeed, if you Google it, Mercedes is at Level 3. So I don't know if that's the most advanced one. Just what I came up with was Mercedes is ahead, but to my knowledge, Level 4, Level 5 is still going to be pretty tough. Moreover, to really get this thing to work, when you're mixing robot drivers with human drivers, it's tough because, humans are unpredictable. They get mad at you and stuff like that. They do crazy stuff. They, text while they drive, all these things. Now, theoretically, my personal opinion is theoretically we could have robot drivers, and one of the best ways to do it would be if everybody was a robot driver, right? And they all communicated with each other on a network, or they had like some sort of sensors that were on every car. So it would be like kind of like like electronic bumper system. You guys know what I'm trying to say? So if every car has it, I think it probably could work, but we're still mixing it together. So I think we're a long ways away. Moreover, let's see what else they have to say here. So Apple's scaling down. It says here, internally the shift, did we already talk about that? No, we did talk about that. Internally, the shift is seen as a pivotal moment for Apple's car. Either the company is finally able to deliver this product with reduced expectations, or top executives may seriously reconsider the project's existence. So that's the challenge for Apple. I mean, do you come out with something that's basically the same as a Tesla, or do you just forget about it entirely? Still, it's possible that Apple reverses course again and takes a new track, so who knows. The prior design for the vehicle called for a system that wouldn't require human intervention on highways in approved parts of North America and could operate under most conditions. This is another big part, which I mentioned several times on the channel about this stuff, and it's just good to go over it because sometimes people don't think about this stuff clearly, and when you watch pumper channels, they make it sound like, this is going to be everywhere and it's going to be tomorrow. Regulation is going to be a really, really big deal, And one of the things that's important to think about is many people's jobs are tied to driving a truck, train, plane, whatever, helicopter, etc. And when you're taking away people's jobs, especially with the driving one, you're going to have a lot of pushback. Moreover, when people start getting in car accidents and there's, fatalities, these kind of things, there's going to be so many investigations on does the robot driver work or not. And, states at any moment could just say, hey, we're just going to ban drivers. So even if you want to get, say, robot driver for semis, which would be, theoretically efficient, or even just trains or whatever. They'd have to go through different states, right? They have to cross state lines, etc. And I think that's going to be a real regulatory nightmare. So that's why I'm not like I'm not holding my breath waiting for the FSD to come and for us to be able to all have robotaxis and make passive income from that. I'm not seeing it. The operate under most conditions is a tough one as well. I was reading recently, even Elon Musk was saying like right now the FSD we have to test it in the rain because that creates problems. Then obviously you guys know. What about snow and slick conditions, these kind of things, poor visibility, fog, all this stuff? It's not easy. I'll just be honest, it's not easy. So, and I don't think Apple has a bunch of incompetent people over there. It's Apple. I'm sure they have highly competent engineers, and they're unable to pull it off. So, but I'm sure the pumpers over at Tesla will say, hey, Tesla's got the best engineers in the whole world, the smartest people ever, and they can do things that Apple can't. And they'll make that argument, but I think they're probably on par would be my guess. The company has been meeting with potential manufacturing partners in Europe to discuss the new approach. This is interesting because I'm in Korea, and you guys may or may not know this. There's been a lot of like leaks coming out that Apple's been meeting with Kia and Hyundai and trying to get some sort of deal with a Korean manufacturer. Now, this is from friends that I know that work at said companies, and I've heard on the DL on the down low that there was just no deal made because Apple wanted too much money. So it's a shame because I think that might probably be the best route to go for Apple if you were to do this, is just pick a car company that's gonna already have all this manufacturing capability in place, and then you put Apple brand on there and put the software in, and bingo, you got something. But it looks like now they're going for Europe. I'll be curious if they end up with the same kind of problem to where the European manufacturers, who knows who they're going to partner with. There was rumors for a while that it was going to be like a Porsche would partner with Apple. I don't know if they would get something like a Mercedes or BMW to do something like that, or Volkswagen even, who knows. But obviously people want money when you do these things, and you got to make a deal that is amicable to both parties. So we'll see. But it's interesting that they're giving up on Asia and going with Europe. And I thought it was interesting too. Like, why not try a Chinese manufacturer? Why not? Why not? There was rumor for a while that they would be Lucid. I never thought that would be necessarily a good pairing. I don't care for Lucid at all. But we'll see. Apple's going to Europe, and I'd be curious what your guys' guesses on who it would be over there. We'll find out. He also says here, Apple, after the initial car debuts, Apple hopes to release an upgraded system that supports Level 4 autonomy in additional regions. So essentially, that would be a software issue is kind of how I would read that. So they'll try to get that car on the road as soon as possible, and then eventually sell you software upgrade. That's sort of how I read that. In that scenario, the vehicle totally operates on its own, but is still only in certain conditions. Level 5 means the car can drive itself anywhere under any conditions. So we're still a long ways from that. Level 5, that is. The new strategy was adopted after a series of frenzied meetings that included Apple's board, project head Kevin Lynch, and chief executive officer Tim Cook. The board had pressed Apple's leadership about the car plan for several months during 2023, according to people. Interesting. So this was a hot topic in the company, I guess. The company has been the car has been one of the company's most expensive research and development projects for part of the decade, with Apple spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year on salaries. That's quite a bit of money. Cloud-based systems for controlling the self-driving computer, closed road testing, and engineering for both vehicle parts and chips. So it's not cheap to do this stuff. And it's interesting because we just talked about the layoffs over at Riot. And companies, when the money's flowing, you start doing R&D because you want to get new products, etc. But when you spend money on R&D, you're not guaranteed that anything's going to come of it, right? So that is something to think about. What else does it say here? It says Apple has spent years working on powertrains, self-driving hardware and software, car interiors and exteriors, and other key components. Wow, it's crazy how Apple's pretty good at not leaking this stuff. Because I to my knowledge, I haven't seen any like pictures of car interiors, exteriors, and all this stuff. But interesting. And yet the vehicle has never successfully reached a formal prototype stage. Okay, that's why, because we've never seen a full prototype. Company managers are hoping that finally could happen. That could finally happen with the new approach, according to people. Uncertainty has plagued the endeavor for years. When former project head Doug Field left in 2021, it was part because he didn't believe top executives would ever formally approve release of the vehicle. Oh, interesting. So they had someone guy who was like heading the thing, and he just never thought it was gonna ever come. So why waste your time? Interesting. Before Apple, Field ran engineering at Tesla. He now oversees Ford Motors EV efforts. And talking about Ford, I think it was just announced recently that they're really going to scale back their Lightning truck. I think we are going to have electric vehicles, but maybe not as fast as people would have liked to have. And it depends who you ask, right? If you're an oil company, of course, you don't necessarily want that to rush to market. But I still think we're a long ways away from getting it mass adoption. Else thing it sells here, Apple's tech peers have significant players in the automotive industry. Amazon invested in Rivian, right? We know about that, which makes delivery trucks for the e-commerce. Alphabet's includes Waymo division. And Waymo recently, I think they fired like a whole bunch of people over there because they had their taxi issue. There was like an accident in San Francisco, and that's certainly a slowdown. And then it also says key competitors in China is Huawei, Xiaomi, recently introduced vehicles. And then this is a really, really competitive market in China. A lot of manufacturers are popping up over there. So all around, but no one's done self-driving quite yet. And it says here to date, so in terms of the level 5 and, and it's all approved everywhere, we're still a long ways away. To date, Apple's most significant car effort has been CarPlay, and CarPlay is not bad. I've used it. It's not bad. Which lets drivers access iPhone features like Maps and Siri. It's been redesigned this year to integrate more deeply with vehicle controls and entertainment systems. Now, to be fair to Tesla, I've driven in Teslas, and I actually like the Tesla software. I don't think it's bad. I just don't like the placement of the screen. But no, Tesla software is not bad, and I like the mapping system, etc. So if the Apple people and the Tesla people could get together and make a really cool UI, we'd have something there. But I think both of them are a bit lacking. I would like Tesla's sort of like technology capabilities. And how can I say, like, I really like their navigation stuff a lot. I don't care for Apple's navigation as much, but I do like Apple's simplicity. Tesla's screens can be a little bit cluttered. So figure out a way to get a middle of the two. UI matters quite a bit, but overall, I don't like touchscreens as a whole. I prefer just tactile feel of stuff when I'm driving. That's just me, though. Let's see what else it says here. The latest plan for the car is seen internally as a Tesla Me Too product, meaning that I want to do it too if Tesla's doing it. One that doesn't break significant new ground. But the company hopes to make the car stand out with a sleek design, safety systems, and unique user experience. So that's what they're going to try to sell you on, is that we're more cooler, we're safer, and different than other ones, right? Unique. Apple once envisioned creating a car without steering wheels and pedals, but that idea is off the table for now. So you get your steering wheel and pedals according to the new design. But yeah, I remember reading a report earlier, that might have been a year or so ago, where they're like, hey, we got a car coming out, and you can't drive it, basically. They were confident in the robot, but that's not happening anymore. The company also spent time working on a remote command center that could take over for a driver, a service that won't likely be necessary with the reduced system. The command center thing is interesting. I think the problem in the USA, I think you could actually pull it off here in Korea, and I'll tell you why. Basically, internet speeds. In the USA, it's just, you guys' internet's slow. There's no other way to put it. And moreover, even if it is fast in the city that you're in, you're one of a very, very few cities that there have a very, very slow rollout of internet in USA. And this is something that if I were running for office or whatever, it would be one of my priority issues, is get high-speed internet to every single child in the country. I don't think I'm saying anything crazy, and make it affordable. I think that's key. So maybe you could do this command center stuff like that, and figure out a way to have it that you can connect with cars in real time, but you're still a long ways away because you need higher speeds, and also too, as I mentioned before, I think it only really works if everyone's on the same network. and then you got the issue, just talking out loud, then you got the issue of like, what if someone hacks the autonomous driving network? Just think of the craziness that would happen with that, with driving. And I mean, maybe we never get driving when I think of it that way, of a safety concern. And don't discount the hackers, guys, if you get everyone on the same network. I mean, for reals. What else we got here? It says, as part of the new plan, Apple is weighing further management changes. I mean, they may fire or theoretically hire people. I don't think anyone's really hiring that much, but you never know. Both its hardware engineering and autonomous software teams, the people said, aside from Lynch, an Apple veteran who oversees the development of its smartwatch software, many of the project executives hail from car companies including Ford, Porsche, and Lamborghini. So they do have experienced people on staff. So that's what's up with the Apple Car. Love to hear your thoughts on this one. Would you buy one? Are you looking forward to it? Or do you think it's a pipe dream? and it's never coming to market. So far, what they're saying, the headline is Apple delays it till 2028. So we'll see if Indeed is a real thing. And the other thing we picked up with this is that right now they're looking for a manufacturer to partner with in Europe. So who would that be? Thanks again for your time, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next video.